What is up, folks, and welcome back to the JMA Podcast. We are here today with Alex Casiano of 10th Planet Jiu Jitsu, host of Chronic Kombat, and commentator for Flex FC. We're joined by co host Jeremy Fairhurst of Rival FC, and it's going to come to me. It's going to come to me, the gym. Your gym, Jeremy.
Bushido. Bushido MMA.
It didn't come to me. Thank you, bud. All
was
right.
close. It was close.
It was yeah, it was a slim margin there. All right. uh we have a bit to discuss. Alex, my friend, let's start with tell the guests about yourself, where you come from, what you do.
I'm from New York, born and raised. I kind of do a little bit of everything. That's also how we met. We met actually in jiu-jitsu. We were training at 10 Planet. I think you came to an open mat.
Absolutely. Yep. No, came to a class for
You came to a class, and then you came again during an open mat. I
yes.
think that's what it was. Yeah. So we met there. But I kind of do a little bit of everything. I'm hosting, commentary. I do my own Snapchat show. We talked a little bit about I do some stunts for shows, some fight scenes and stuff like that. So I kind of do it all. Yeah, I wear a lot of hats.
Yeah. How did you acquire so many hats?
Saying yes to opportunities. Literally, that's it. There's an opportunity, and they're like, "Hey, you want to try this?" And I'm like, "Yeah, why not? Let's get into it. Let's see where it goes." And that's kind of like what I've done for most things. I'm like, all right, let's see what happens.
Did you always have that mentality, or was that something you kind of developed over time?
No, I've kind of always had like a fuck it, let's try it mentality when I was a kid. That's just how it was. Like, even like starting off with sports and stuff like that. I started off with boxing. That was like my first big love. So with boxing, I was like, fuck it, let's try it. And with a lot of that was like, I'm not a bigger guy. I'm like 5'6", 5'7", like 145, 150. So I'm not a big dude. So a lot of times when I was younger, I was even smaller. So when it came to sparring, I'm like, fuck it, let's try it. Because I'd always be the smallest guy, for instance,
Did that ever get you into any trouble with that attitude? Like,
all the time, bro. That's my mom probably hates that attitude that I have. She's like, just no, stop doing that. But I like it. I think it's more fun that way. Why not?
What's the best story of something going wrong from saying yes?
I don't know if I could say that. I got to think on it. We'll go back to that. I gotta think of an appropriate story that's not going to get me grand scheme in trouble. I got to think about that one.
What's the best thing that ever happened from you saying yes?
The best, probably. Well, my honest to God, my Snapchat show, right? Like that came from an opportunity. I was working with a guy. He was a boxing client of mine, right? And he was like, "Yo, dude, you're funny. Like, we always have fun. We always shoot the shit. You have your fight knowledge. Let's shoot a pilot and see if we get picked up." I was like, "All right, fuck it, yeah, let's do it." And then boom, that led to that, which led to Chronic Kombat, which led to Flex, which led to like a bunch of different stuff. And like that's kind of, that it's weird when you think about it, because that actually came from me saying yes to my boy Rob to try 10th Planet. And then 10th Planet gave me the opportunity to teach, and just saying yes to different opportunities.
It's kind of crazy how those doors just kind of flow open one after another. It's weird how they trickle in, because we've had the same kind of effect here at Jmurrayathletics with like certain coverage opportunities.
Yeah.
And do you feel like there's any other attributors that kind of have helped you along the way with gaining that level of success?
I think I'm like the same person through and through, like I'm not going to be a dick to anybody unless, you kind of deserve it. But like, I treat everybody the same, whether it's on a set, it's, in the gym, it's at a show. I'm always the same person with everybody. And some people don't like that. Some people like it. I don't know. I just think I'm gonna be me no matter what, and I think that's kind of what it is. Maybe that's the New York in me. I'm gonna be me.
No, I think people like the authenticity. Actually, you mentioned your friend Rob, and I
Mhm.
wanted to ask you what actually inspired you to start training Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, and how did you become affiliated with 10th Planet?
So I was boxing for a while. I got hurt a bunch of injuries. Things stopped in that sense. And my buddy Rob, we've been friends. We used to work together at Foot Locker, actually, funny enough. And we've been friends for years. And he was just like, "Yo, you got to come train, bro. Like, it's been so long." And I was like, "Oh man, I tried jujitsu before that years ago. I didn't like it. It just wasn't for me." And he's like, "No, bro, it's good. Trust me. Come on, this is a spot. You got to try it." And I was like, "All right, cool." And then I went. And when I went, it was like right before the pandemic. So there weren't a lot of new people. So I was like the new guy, you know what I mean? So there was nobody to like compare at the same level of me.
Yeah.
Everybody else had been in it for like 6, 7, 8 months, which, when you're just starting off jujitsu and you got no experience, that's a big difference. There's a big gap there.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
so I was just getting beat. But with him and then meeting other people in the gym. Oh, here's one of my dogs. This is Grava. Hi, baby. You okay? Go lay down. Um, with
Hey,
that,
Rob.
there you go. There's Grava. Go over there. That kind of led to me joining 10th Planet. Robert's there. He's still there, actually. Shout out to Rob. Robert Cosme, great dude. Um,
Okay.
yeah, and that led to those opportunities.
That's interesting because we featured Rob as the athlete of the month a few months back. I think
He's
last
a
year.
dog, bro.
What?
He's a dog. He's a straight up dog, bro.
Yeah, I don't think I've actually. I think I did. I get to see him compete. Was he on the card for the Chronic?
Yeah. He had I gave him like the best intro. I called him like the people's champ. I talked about how he was like undisputed, undefeated, and then he ended up, how did he win? I don't remember how he won. He won. I'm trying to think. Oh, he got a heel hook win. Grabba. He got a heel hook win. So yeah, you did commentate one of his fights. There you go.
Yeah, right. I was see. I was like, where did I knew I saw him fight recently, and I didn't think I knew he didn't go to was it Rolling Stoners? Uh, you gotta come out there sometime. That's a good event.
Rolling Stoners looks awesome. Oh, hold on. Give me 1 second, guys. My dog's trying to get something.
Oh, you're good. Jeremy, you loved Rolling Stoners.
Yeah, no, Rolling Stoners was fun, man. That was a total different experience. But like, we also we have jujitsu out here, but like with the 10th planet, we don't have a 10th planet presence at all in Paducah. So like that very much intrigues me. I've always heard about it. I've always heard good things about it, but I've never actually like stepped on a mat and experienced it.
It's a different culture.
What keeps me at 10th Planet is, the hard rounds and stuff, but they let you be you. That's kind of why I love 10th Planet so much, right? Like, you get to find your own style. I'm sure you guys have been to a gym where when you roll with a guy and then you get a new partner, you do 5 rounds, and it was kind of the same round each time, just with a different person. You know what I mean? Like, they all have the exact same style. They do the exact same stuff. They have the exact same reaction.
Right.
Part of what I love about 10 Planets, every time I go, a lot of people have really different styles. Even though I've trained at 10 Planet for almost 5 years now, I know how to do some rubber guard game, but that is not my game. You know what I mean? So they let you find your style and like be yourself. And I think that's what kind of makes me fall in love with it each time.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things I really appreciated about visiting it was you guys really did make me feel welcome.
Yeah.
I did visit Unity Jiu Jitsu while I was down there for a seminar. It was an all right. I mean, the instruction was well. I like the way they did the seminar. That was for the Leandro Lowe memorial. Uh, and the respect to the gym because they have a very accomplished gym. What else did I visit? Oh, I visited Jew Livre, with Arbem. I don't know. You guys still on good terms? I know he left. He was working at, or he was teaching at 10th Planet, and then that's how I met him.
Yep.
That was the same time I met you, and then he switched over. He started his own gym there, and he seems to be doing pretty well with that too. So I
No,
was just
Jervim's a good dude. So we're still on terms. We're still on good terms. I see him every now and then. Like I saw him when I was commentating for Fight to Win. I ran into
Yep.
him. It's always a bunch of love there. He's like, I've known him for a good amount of time. So he always gives me a lot of love when I see him. I know his students, so his students will say hi to me and stuff. I actually used to coach with him. We used to coach on an MMA team together. It was fun at 10th Planet. So we
I
actually
imagine,
cornered some fights together.
I imagine he has some really good, cool tricks for MMA. Catch
Yeah.
y'all, catch you. What do I don't know what the submissions are, but like I was watching his matches at Chronic,
Yep.
and he was throwing these things, and they were just basic submissions, but in ways that like I'm looking at it, it's like, what is he doing? And it kept confusing the hell out of me. But I am always impressed by his work.
So I probably won't do it justice, but he's a black belt in luta livre as well as Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, and that comes from what I understand, it comes from like a catch as catch can background. So they
Mhm.
have a lot of different joint locks, a lot of different leg locks, things like that. Submissions that you don't see as much.
Yep.
Um, I'm sure he'd love to be in a podcast, talk to you about it, and break it down in
Oh
that
no,
way.
he was
Yep.
he joined us in the previous season.
Oh, nice.
Yep. Yep. He gave me the whole rundown, but my brain does not retain everything, unfortunately.
It happens, bro. No, he's a good dude, man. Yeah, he does a nice. Actually, he does a really cool open mat on Sundays. So if you guys are ever in the city, head down there Sundays. I think it's like 11 to 1, something like that. He does really cool open mats.
They're definitely worth it. I think he let when we were there. When I was there, he let us do or pick what we wanted to work on, and then he'd go around and like he'd work on the groups with what you were working on or something to that effect,
Okay.
which was kind of cool. Um, but you worked with you said you coached MMA. You know, did what level the competitors did you work with?
So me and Joe, when we cornered fights, we were doing amateurs, right? Like guys starting off their career. We did kickboxing, we did amateur MMA and stuff, and just guys getting their feet wet. So it's funny. Like before I was commentating for Flex, I actually cornered a few fights there, right? I cornered some fights there for a guy named Rodrigo Brauna, who's he's now pro. I think he's 1-0 if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, he won his fight. So he's 1-0 right now as a pro. He's a good dude, Rodrigo. Ton of love. Shout out Rodrigo. He's doing great. And it's funny. That's how I kind of got introduced to the flex guys. Yeah.
So it was so it opened up another door. Um, what advice would you give to competitors trying to get up to the higher levels?
Uh, Always be willing to learn. I feel like some guys, at all levels, they decide like, oh, I know it. I know it all. And I think that's when people start to, decline is when they feel like they learn it all. Like you can always learn something from somebody, and that's like a great mindset to have in anything you do, right? In commentary and fighting and podcast, anything, like just learn from somebody. Just learn. Always be willing to learn. And if you keep that mindset, I think you could evolve really well.
Nah, that's beautiful. I mean, it's hard to keep that mindset. I mean, staying humble and trying to just just moving forward. And I don't know. The hardest part for me is always absorbing things, though.
I
I don't
feel
know.
that.
I don't know if you ever have that same issue. I'll do the same technique 50 million times. I'll never remember it.
I mean, what's funny for me, like something might click for one of my teammates, right? Like there's a guy I train with, Sircon. He's been working on his wrestling so much, and now he's just double legging everybody. Like he's just singles, doubles. Like he's got it, right? But like for me, something like that might not click. But then for some reason, like a calf slicer's clicking for me lately. Like I'm just getting really good at that. And it's just like I think you gotta like add what's fitting to your style. So like I'm always willing to learn, but I know you've been to a ton of seminars too, where they'll throw so much at you, and maybe you only get like 10% of it, but that 10% really sticks.
Yeah, honestly, the reason I like the seminars so much is I feel like you said, you get so much thrown at you. At least one thing should click.
Yeah.
When I think back though, actually, the Dean Lister seminar at Sarah's gym was one of the seminars I had the most value from. Um, in that one, I don't know why, but I want to say like 2/3 of that seminar I still use and remember actively, even though like I don't still like I haven't been in a month, but I guarantee you the second I hop in there, I'm gonna be doing straight ankles with like the same stuff I learned at that seminar. But
But then I'm sure there's like seminars you've been to and you're like, bro, I don't remember nothing from it.
yeah, it's funny. It's like the Eddie Bravo seminar. I remember very little. I remember meeting him afterwards.
Yeah.
That was honestly the best part. I think that's the whole reason I wanted to go there anyway. It was fun though, because so as a Freemason, knowing that he's into the whole conspiracy thing, as he's signing this poster I have, I asked him, so what's your feelings on Freemasonry? And he said, the Satanist, blah blah blah. And then I showed him my ring, and I said, he goes, oh, I was like, you want to go check out a lodge sometime? He's like, no,
He's like, yeah, immediately no. Dub that.
nah.
I've only met Eddie once. He was really nice. Yeah, I met him at the seminar.
Yeah, they're always nice. They're supposed to be. We're supposed to be nice. We're not. We're not always nice.
Well, he's my coach's coach, so Eddie's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, Eddie's a nice guy. I met him. Like I said, I met him once, but it's who was I talking to about that recently? Somebody was telling me about like lineage or something like that, like coach, and I was like, I guess it's good. I got Ray, Eddie, and then Jean-Jacques, I guess.
Yeah. No, that's golden.
Yeah, they're cool.
Who's gonna fucking dispute that?
I haven't met John yet. I got to meet him.
On her?
Jean-Jacques Machado. I haven't met him. I got to meet him.
Yeah. The Machado brothers.
Yeah, I got to meet him one day.
Let's see. If I go through my lineage, let's see here. We got Ed. He went to Julio Foco Fernandez, and I think he went through Carlson Jr., the Bulldog guy. I don't know what. I'm not good with the Brazilian.
Nah, I'm bad with names too, bro. Don't worry about it. And I do commentary, and I fuck up people's names all the time. Like if I didn't have the paper in front of me, like when I do my intros or all that thing like that, nobody sees my notes, but most people, their name isn't written how their name is. Like I write it how like I'm gonna pronounce it. Like if you correct me, if your last name is complicated, I'm gonna do it that is gonna make sense to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I remember reading through the names with the one on the commentary with the Chronic Kombat there, and and those were basic names, and I was stumbling over all of them.
There's a lot of guys, man, that they got some weird names out there, respectfully. I'm like, I don't know what the hell you're trying to say. Like Fairhurst, that's an easy name. That's a good name. Fairhurst.
That's funny you say that because everybody here has a hard time with it.
Fairhurst?
Yes, everybody in Kentucky has a hard time with it. They're like, "Where are you from?" And I'm like, "I'm from here. I don't know what to tell y'all. I mean, I was born in Florida, but I've seen some weird spellings for it. Like I've seen people try to put an A in for the U. Like,
oh, for the Paducas?
Well, I like Paducah, okay, but we're not exactly the education capital of the world, guys. So it is what it is. We make with what we can.
Rival FC is gonna put it on the map.
I'm hoping so, bro. I think that they keep going around and like pulling in some of the top amateur fighters from like the surrounding states and saying, yeah, like let's see what we got and really bring those eyes in. Yeah, I think Rival FC is gonna really put it on the map. We've got some amazing guys, so it's gonna be a lot of fun. I can't wait till the next show comes out.
Alex, what you think of the Midwest fighters?
Midwest fighters. I've only, you know, being in New York, sometimes they'll come over. A lot of them that I've seen, heavy wrestlers, right? A lot of wrestlers. That's what I usually get when I see a Midwest fighter. Automatically, I'm like, he's gonna wrestle. And then they always got the shot up ears, and I'm like, yeah. But they're scrappy. That's what I like about Midwest guys. Scrappy is probably the best way I describe them. All right, like they actually come to fight. You know, sometimes you get a couple guys where they come to experience the event more than fight. You know what I mean?
That's fair. That's fair. All right, man. Oh, I actually did have one other question for you. Which acting gig and Netflix, HBO, or the student film gave you the biggest adrenaline rush? Any behind the scenes story that sports fan would find surprising?
Oh man, my favorite like project that I've done is the one I was telling you about earlier, the Knicks movie. Maybe next year. That one doesn't come out to like later in the year, but that one was cool because it was cool because I didn't have a fight scene in it. Every kind of most of the acting stuff I do, they give me like a fight scene or like they got me play like a thug or something like that, and then I die. This one I was like, I called my mom. I was like, "Yo, mom, I don't die in this one." She was like, "Oh, nice, that's awesome." I was like, "This is cool. I don't die in this one." And like the acting stuff is it's a passion for me, but it's also a fun side gig. You know what I mean? Obviously, I'd love, you know, somebody just be like, "Hey, boom, we'll put you in like a Marvel movie or something." That'd be awesome. But you know, I think the best part about that one is it's just a fun story. You know, maybe next year. But I'd say a surprising thing that people don't realize is like you'll spend so much time on one scene, and it's like a 2-minute scene. It's like, yeah, that was an 8-hour day. So like that's probably like the weirdest thing for me of being on set is like that or like I did Blue Bloods, right? They had me do a fight scene in Blue Bloods. Like I was hitting pads and everything. We spent 3 hours me hitting pads, breaking it down, and they cut the scene. So like I was like, what was the point of that? And like that's part of the film industry. You'll do a bunch of stuff, you kill it, and then they just be like, all right, well, that got cut. Still get paid the same, but it's just like, bro, like
rough.
Yeah, it's just a rough day. I remember I was watching it. I was like, all right, cool. It's gonna come up in a second. Didn't. I was in the background punching pads, doing that, but like the big me hitting pads and sparring. Only some of the sparring made it in, but I was like, all right, that's great. Thanks, Blue Bloods. Shout out Blue Bloods though. It's a cool set.
All right, my man. As we come to a close here, I actually have one last thing for you. I have a little quiz. It is 3 questions. They focus around things around I presumably you should know. New York City, UFC, and 10th Planet.
Oh God, don't quiz me on UFC, man. I am a casual these days, bro.
Well, fortunately, these are some basic questions that even Jeremy can answer.
All right, Jeremy,
and anyway, without further ado, if you get all 3 correct, I will send you a gift from the JMA store.
Okay.
From the podcast selection. There are mugs and or shirts available, possibly hoodies in the future. All right, my man. Without further ado, let's go. Number 1. What is the original name of New York City?
I'm gonna go with New Amsterdam,
Sorry, this is a video. I gotta.
No, you're good. You're good, bro.
You are correct, my man.
Let's go.
1.
See, 1-0, baby. Let's get it.
Question number 2. Eddie Bravo founded 10th Planet Jiu Jitsu what year?
I'm gonna go B, 2003.
That would be correct. And it also jumped ahead.
It did help me out there. I'll take it. It saved my ass. I was looking at B. I'm like, it gotta be B because UFC's already established about 2010 and stuff. You know why I actually got that one? Because I remember around 2010 is when Brock Lesnar was in the UFC, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so I remember playing the game, the old, what was it, UFC Undisputed, where he's on the cover. And I remember that's around the time I heard about 10th Planet, like first time. So I was like, he's Brock Lesnar, UFC's like 2010. So yeah, no, 2003.
All right. And the final question. Which UFC fighter held the belt the longest?
Damn. I want to say John Jones, but he did vacate it, bro. I'm gonna go John Jones. Fuck it, John Jones.
Is that your final answer?
See, I think you're making me want to pick Anderson Silva. Excuse me. It can't be Buddha. I'm gonna go with Anderson Silva.
Are you sure?
Yeah, let's do that. Let's go.
Anderson Silva was correct.
So I got questions now for you, John. All right.
All right. I'm gonna have answers.
With you now starting to do commentary, right?
Okay.
How do you feel about that? What's next in that regard?
Oh, I'm not sure, man. Like, if someone offers it, I'll take it. Like you, unless it seems like a bad situation with certain people, I won't get involved with people I think are sketchy. If I think you're up to shenanigans or otherwise, I'm skedaddling.
Yep.
But no, otherwise, like very much like you, like I think you need to say yes to opportunity. If someone's offering you a way in to an industry that you want to be a part of, even if it's the smallest part, say yes, because getting in the door is an opportunity to meet other people to get further in the door. I don't mind doing commentary. I want to focus more on the stream and building our media brand.
Yeah.
It's important to me that that the brand has recognition. Really, I think me taking opportunities is a big part of that. But as far as like personal opportunities, I've been trying to focus more on business opportunities. If that makes any sense?
No, it makes sense. Like you were telling me about high rollers and stuff like that. I know you invited me out to that one. Fortunately, I couldn't make it. It was just a little bit too much of a drive for me.
Oh man, that was a mess.
Yeah, that just that little bit of drive. Like, for instance, like last summer when I did Fight to Win, I've done Fight to Win twice now. I've done Flex for like 2 years now. Chronic Kombat, probably 3 years now. Or 2 years now, something like no, 3 years because I started the show 3 years ago. And like a lot of those shows, I'm learning something new every time. You know what I mean? So
Right.
every time I'm doing a show, I'm like, oh, I got to tweak this or I got to go with that, and that's about just me adjusting on the fly, right? Because like Flex Fights now they're on Fubo TV, so to be on live TV, things don't always get perfect. You know what I mean? There's one that I remember one of the fighters got hurt, and we had to wait for the ambulance to send that guy out and send the next ambulance in before we could continue the show. But, you still got it. The show keeps going and stuff like that. Or like, there's been times where I'll do a ton of research on a fighter and then he backs out last minute. And I'm like, well, that was fun. Like, thanks for that, bro. So I'm sure, Jeremy, you could probably relate to that, Rival FC. You do a bunch of research on a guy and then backs out and you're just like, great.
Yeah, I didn't do as much of the matchmaking or anything like that, but I've definitely seen a bunch of it where that's happened. Or you have people that pull up the day of the fight, like at weigh-ins, and it's like, no, you can't find a replacement at all, or even just trying to do it a couple weeks out and then trying to find somebody, especially being in like Paducah, like nobody wants to come out to Paducah, Kentucky, to fight for free.
You guys got
yeah.
The next city. It's a 2-hour drive. It's a 2-hour drive between the next closest city. So like where we are, like Alex, we can find someone in the next town over, which is like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
They got to find
Yeah.
someone from the next town over 2 hours away. So it's wild out there. Like, it's rough.
Yeah, and you don't want to just put bums on there either. And I don't mean, you know what I mean by this. Like, you don't want to just like give anybody an easy fight or just fill a card with whoever is willing to sign up, because it's easy to just find like some redneck that's like, yeah, sure, why not, versus somebody who's actually put in a camp. And you see the difference. Like, you down these cards, you'll see like 4 fighters that it looks like, yeah, like I saw this at an Indiana show that I went to one time. It was like the first 4 fights looked like everybody came out of the local bar. And then like 3, 4 fights in after that, suddenly you start seeing they pulled in this team from Lexington and they just started walking through people. And you're like, okay, you see those levels at the amateur level. I can't imagine what it's like at the pro level to like the levels that are there.
Oh, all right. Funny you said right there. When I was coaching still, right? My guy it was his debut fight. All right. I was like, cool, this is gonna be awesome. We got offered an opponent, and the guy's name is his name is Tornique. All right. That was the opponent we got offered. The guy, I look up the guy, and his coach is Marab, UFC champion Marab. The guy was a judo Olympian, and I was like, no, we're not fighting that for my guy's debut. That's a no. I had to call the promoter. I was like, no, sorry, I'm not. But the guy's record is 0-0. His record is technically 0-0. So like, it wasn't a bad, but I was like, no.
Yeah.
Against a judo Olympian with Marab in his corner. He wasn't the champ yet, but he's still Marab. We're not doing that. Georginian guy, I'm not fighting that guy for my guy's debut. We're no. But you see it a lot in as you keep working these shows, you do see it, right? Where you're like, okay, that was an opening fight for a reason. Like that's why that was an opening bout. And then as it keeps going, you see guys that you're like, wow, that guy's insanely talented. Like Flex, they've had this guy on a few times. He's pretty viral. You know Wing C out of Street Beefs?
No.
Okay. So when you get a chance, watch some of Wing C's at Flex fights. I think he just fought a guy named Christian Carlo last Flex fights that I commentated. It was a few Flex ago. That dude is a beast, bro. He fights at Street Beefs. And it's funny. You're like, oh, the guy fights at Street Beefs. He does a huge anime walkout. He comes out in these wings.
What's his name?
Wing C.
Wait, is that the guy with the Naruto band?
No, that's Death Sentence. I know too much about these Street Beefs guys because of Punch Up. All right, I watched a lot of these guys. You know what I'll do to make it easier for you? Let me see it.
Hold on. I got you. Hold on. We got this.
We got this.
Yeah, no, I got you. Hold on. I already got it.
You got Wing C?
I got Wing C.
Wing C he's talented, bro. He's really good. He is just a character. So you'll run into guys like that they are interesting. Also, Street Beefs is interesting. I actually love watching Street Beefs. I don't know about you guys.
I've watched a little bit of Street Beefs here and there. That's a little bit up my alley. I'm like, okay, they've got some interesting characters on there.
This might be maxing out my Wi-Fi.
It might be watch it later when you get a chance. Watch some Wing C fighting. But one thing I like about Street Beefs, right? It gives some guys an avenue. You know, you were talking earlier about some of these guys, like they're not the best, right? But I think they could start off in stuff like Street Beefs, like see if fighting's for you before you hop in a cage with another guy. And, you know, if he's really good at jiu-jitsu and he gets you an armbar, you don't know what's going on, he's going to break your arm. Hi, Grubby.
Right.
You know, but
listen,
it might be a little safer for that.
Alex, my man, I hate to do this to you, but I do actually have to cut the stream, unfortunately. I am getting death stares from my right-hand shoulder from the wifey. We did make plans to go to a show to support her friend tonight, and I am unfortunately holding her up at this point. My
You're all
friend
good.
Alex, I want to give you an opportunity to plug yourself. That's very important to us that people know where to find you. My friend, where can they find you?
All right, so guys, you can find me on Instagram. Punch Up Poppy is my social media, my little comedy page. My own personal is East Coast _AC. My Snapchat channel is Punch Up. That's the one that pays the bills. Okay, so if you just go to Punch Up, it pops up. Watch the whole thing. Don't skip the ads. Support my dogs. I got great dogs. I got great homies. I got great friends. If you want to see me live, come to Flex Fight Series or Chronic Kombat when it pops up. Or on May 17th, actually, I'm doing a different one. I'm going to be doing the first annual Empire Cup Open Judo tournament. Yeah, it's going to be at Japan Village. So come through, guys.
All right, guys. This has been the JMA Podcast, episode 202 with Alex Casiano. Till next time, stay blessed. We are out. Peace.
All right, guys. Thanks, guys.